ComC.com is your home for buying, selling, and flipping all the hottest trading cards. Their consignment marketplace is home to over 24 million cards across all sports, genres, and eras. With a ComC.com account, you can purchase cards from different sellers over time and ship them home together later, or immediately reprice them for sale on the ComC marketplace. To better serve the hobby, ComC recently made changes to streamline their services and improve turnaround. They even opened a new building. To learn more about the exciting changes being made at ComC, please visit blog.comc.com. You're listening to the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute, a podcast where we discuss both the hobby and business sides of collecting. I'm your host, Mike Summer, and I want to help you buy, sell, and trade your way into a collection you'll love. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the WaxPackHero Sports Card Minute. We are about 6 weeks away from the 2021 National Sports Collectors Convention, and I can't wait. I am excited. I've got my hotel room booked. I am looking forward to getting there and getting a chance to talk with everybody. It's been a long year and a half and 2 years since the last National, and I'm looking forward to getting back there. You're probably going to hear quite a bit of content in the coming weeks talking about the National, leading up to the National, giving some tips and hints and tricks and ideas on the best way to approach the National depending on what your goal is going to be. And so I look forward to rolling out kind of our National-themed content in the coming weeks. Today we're going to talk to another collector. It's another series or another episode in our series of Better Know a Collector. And sometimes in the hobby content game, there are people who are well respected and are very popular in certain circles, but in the broader sense of the world, or in the broader sense of the hobby landscape, they may not be as known. And today's guest, Eric, Those Back Pages, is one of those people, in my opinion. He was well respected in the hobby. I didn't get a chance to meet him till 2019, and he was already well known then, well respected then, but he's just somebody that I hadn't stumbled across. He's probably best known on Twitter and also on YouTube, but in the podcasting landscape, he just wasn't as known. And so I wanted to bring him on, have a conversation about his hobby background, why he started a YouTube channel to begin with, what his thoughts are on some of those things, what his thoughts are on the National, and just to learn a little bit more about Eric. But first, I wanted to make sure you were aware that Underdog Collectibles has finally opened their new brick and mortar shop. So they're not just doing their online breaks every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night, but now they've got their brand new shop. It's on the edge of the University of Tennessee campus in the public shopping center area. And so you can go check out their shop. They've got singles, they've got boxes, and you can even watch their breaks live at the shop. Check them out at udogcollect.com and tell them WaxPackHero sent you. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on. I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on. You are somewhat of a legend in the hobby for your input, for your presence on social media, for your YouTube channel. And I wanted to take a second to allow my audience to get to meet you and learn a little bit more about you. You're known as Those Back Pages in many of those social media locations and your YouTube channel. Where did Those Back Pages come from?
Well, that's a great question. First off, I want to thank you for your kind words and having me on the show. It means a lot. So I get this question a lot, Those Back Pages. Okay, well, going back about, 18 years ago now. Scary to think that it's been that long. I had some non-hobby related stuff happen to me, and it was time for a new username, handle, however you want to classify it. And I had been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan music. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. And one of my favorite songs of his is My Back Pages. I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. It's one of the lines from the song. It's like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to use My Back Pages. And, AOL at the time was fairly large. America Online for those of you younger listeners. But, well, lo and behold, My Back Pages was taken. not a shock really. It's like, let me put my own spin on it. And I came up with those back pages, and which, had dual meaning. Like I was, the sports pages were in the back. And back in the day with the newspapers, we used to read the sports section right away, get the updates on everything. And lo and behold, those back pages was available, and I just started using it on AOL. And then when I started up my YouTube channel, as you mentioned, various message boards, sports card message boards as well. I pretty much try to, you know, kind of like Frank's Red Hot, I use that name everywhere.
That's a good way to do it. What about your collecting background? How long have you been collecting and how did that all start for you?
I am now 50 years old, born and raised in New York City, in Queens. Just a few miles, originally a few miles away from Shea Stadium, and grew up a Mets fan. I grew up with essentially, my mom and my dad split when I was real young. I went with my mom, and who was my grandmother's uh, daughter. So it was my grandfather, my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom's side of the family raised me. And my grandmother was very encouraging of collecting. I was an only child. I am an only child. I grew up as a latchkey kid, which is probably another term that's lost on today's society. But I would come home and I would have my cards. And this is one thing I've told this story many times, but I enjoy telling it. People enjoy hearing it. It's 1980, being a Mets fan. And in 1980, there was Tops. There was O-Pee-Chee, but you had to be in Canada. But there was only Tops. So I would get the packs of Tops, chew the gum like any 9-year-old kid, and look through the stacks of cards, the stacks of the cards. I would take the Mets out, put them on the side, because when you're 9, Mets fan, that's your team. Everyone else is irrelevant at that age. I would take the rest, and down the hallway, I would slide, I would spread them out down the hallway, a wood floor hallway, and I would run down the hallway and slide on them to practice my little league slides. So they made for good, like dirt on the floor. Now, who knows how many Ricky Henderson rookies are in there, or Ryan's? No idea, because at 9, irrelevant. So
Yeah, you just wanted to slide easier down that
exactly,
hallway.
yeah, it was fun because when you're 9, you do silly things, especially when you're unsupervised. so,
Yep.
so that and then, like I said, this is 1980, and then in 1981, Donruss and Fleer came around. It's like, oh, wow, more cards. So more cards. And around that time, also started to get into the comics a little bit, probably more around 12, 13 years old, which was encouraged. By that time, my mom had passed on, and I was with my grandmother and grandfather full time. Comics, oh, that's encouraging reading. So, my grandmother was all for it. If it was encouraging me to read, go for it. So, and that blossomed. And then that was, 83, 84. And then I would say by 85, 1985, late 1985, you get, back in the day, you would get an allowance, and it would only go so far. So cards were still coming out, by 1986, Sportflix was coming out, everything was coming out. So I really had to make a choice. Like I couldn't really, my allowance, cutting lawns, shoveling snow, and my allowance really wasn't going to enable me to still do the comics and the cards. So at that point, I had to make a choice. So I chose cards, and that blossomed into going to the local, in 1987, going to the they had opened a mall, and there was a card and comic shop that had both. They had the two booths. One side was all cards, one side was all comics. So I started hanging out there a lot. That led to me being offered, hey, you want to work here? It's like, yeah, hey, I want to work here. So I was with them. That was in 88, 89.
Was that your
As I
first
was,
job?
no, I had a couple other jobs like Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Okay.
uh, supermarket stocking shelf type of thing. Your typical, 80s teenagers jobs.
Sure.
But this was the first job that I was really excited about because I
Hmm.
was selling cards. So I was there from late 88 until 95-ish. No, 97. Yeah, 95-ish. And then it was time to move on. And it was around 97 was when my first retirement, doing the air quotes thing, retirement from cards, like many of us have had. It's like I stepped away from cards, you know, other focuses became more important. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So then around 2003, I was engaged, and my fiance unfortunately had gotten sick with cancer. So I had, I was spending a lot of time, assisting her and dabbling a little bit on eBay. So it's like being a Mets fan is like, oh, David Wright. Everyone's talking about David Wright, 2003. And it's like, oh, well, let me, I'm bored. I'm not bored, but, I have a lot of free time. I'm on the internet. Let me check eBay. It's like, oh, wow, David Wright rookies. Well, his 2002 Bowman Chrome autos. The raw copies were, base autos were like 40, $50 a piece. It's like, all right, well, let me get a couple of these. Pujols is good. Pujols Upper Deck rookies were $3 each. So, all right, let me get a couple of these. And I got those, and then I put them away. My fiance unfortunately passed on, had to move in 2005, move. And in the course of moving, I was handling all my product, like cards I had not even thought about in years. I was touching, sorting, shifting around. It's like I started getting into the cards again, and this was 2005. It's like, all right, well, let me get some more David Wrights. eBay, boom. And I remember this very vividly. A 2002 Bowman Heritage David Wright black box rookie, the parallel, $4. Look at eBay. Oh, it's mint. Yeah, $3. I win it. I think at the time shipping was $2 maybe. Comes in. It's got a ding corner. It's got messed up. It's not in good shape, essentially.
Definitely not mint.
Definitely not mint, correct. So I write the seller, I say, hey, it's not mint. You didn't blah 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 blah. Okay, just send it back. I'll give you your money back. That happens 4 or 5 more times. Different sellers. It's like, man, this is annoying. Like but Eric, you're getting your money back. Yeah, I know. But it's not about the $4 or $5. It's about having the card. I can go and make another $4 or $5. Now this card is gone. As time goes by, David Wright's getting better. So you're not getting them for $3 anymore. So that led me to like looking into, I know the hot topic in the room, graded cards. And I know a lot of people don't like graded cards. And I see both sides of the fence, having done this for a long time. But I started doing more research because, it's the internet. Started looking on eBay. It's like, oh, wow. And now when I had left in 97-ish, early 98, graded cards were super, super expensive. Like super. That's all I remember. Like, because like I know that the PSA had started in 91, but I didn't really pay any attention. So upon my return in 05, it's like, wow, look at this. there must have been some kind of correction while I was away. Because you're talking about 7, 8 years. And I said, well, let me look. Let me look at a Griffey Upper Deck rookie. And I start looking at Griffey Upper Deck rookies. All right, PSA 10, $200. It's like, man, that's a lot of money, $200 for me. PSA 9, $50. It's like, all right, let me think. So I start doing more looking into it. And, with me and myself, I'm a huge fan of buying the card, not the assigned grade.
Sure.
And to me, if you take a 9 and a 10 and you put them at arm's length, other than centering, you're not going to know the difference. And honestly, centering is probably that subjective anyway. So I said to myself, I can buy the $200 10, or I can buy the $50 9 and then use that $150 to buy other cards I want to own, because my main objective is to collect. I want to have these cards. So what I did was I wound up buying the Griffey 9, and then I took that $150 and I bought a Ricky Henderson 9.
Okay.
So I was able to get an Upper Deck Griffey Henderson rookie and a Upper Deck Griffey 9 and a Topps Henderson, which is only Topps, rookie 9, both for $200. And I was happy. So that led me down to, just continuing that road. And then obviously the further you back you go, I'd rather just have the card. I'm not really super, I'm not going to own a PSA 9 now, 51 Bowman rookie. You just adjust over time. And I've been pretty much on and off, but pretty much on since 2005, collecting graded cards.
So the kind of the impetus of your current focus on graded cards started because you weren't happy with the level of accuracy, I guess, in the eBay descriptions of things that you were buying by mail, and that gave you more confidence. That makes sense to me. I can see why that would be one of those focuses. Do you ever pursue raw cards? If you're buying something in person where you're able to examine it, or do you ever collect raw cards as well, or do you at this point just stick to graded?
I do stick. No, I do buy raw cards. I have a personal price point threshold where I'm more comfortable, especially on the internet, purchasing it already graded. Now, I understand the pitfalls of grading in and out. There's nobody, you don't know this. I know all of that stuff. That's fine. But my other main thing is that, let's say, let's use yourself and I as the example. I am the buyer and you are the seller. It is your job, especially if you are selling, if you're an eBay seller, it's not a part-time gig where you have top 5 or 10 listings. You have hundreds, if not more, listings going auction style, whatever it may be. It is, and again, this is not a slight on you, just using you and myself as an example. You as the eBay seller, it's your job to get as much money as possible for your item. Me as the buyer, I want to get it as cheap as possible. That's human nature, both sides. I see third-party grading essentially as a vessel to get it from you to me. Like I said with the David Wright car, it's mint. No, it's not mint when it comes in. Well, in my opinion, it was mint. Well, that's where the third party thing comes in. So if I'm buying, for example, a PSA 6 on the internet and it comes in, I'm not expecting it to be mint type of thing. So it acts as a vessel to get it from point A, the seller, to point B, the buyer. But I will buy raw cards. But like I said, I have, in person, much easier, much, much easier. But let's be honest, most of us buy our stuff on the internet, eBay, Twitter, Facebook, Craigslist, anywhere. So 98.7% of the time you're buying stuff on the internet. So it's a lot more difficult. So it works both ways because it's great that everyone has access 24/7, but that also leads to scams and everything else.
Sure. So what types of cards are you currently focused on? What do you have any projects that are underway, collecting
Well,
projects, things like that, or where would you say your current collecting focus is?
well, my main focus has been for the last 16 years is graded rookie cards
Okay.
of all sports. It started out with baseball, then it spilled over to football, basketball, hockey, even got some soccer. I don't have some wrestling, stuff like that. I mean, it's just the nature of just doing this for a long time. It's like, all right, and I'm big on, all right, I have that. Now what type, like, now, all right, next,
Yep.
got it, need it type of thing. So when I do own something, I tend to not obviously don't pursue it anymore, but and I don't want to say don't pay attention to it, but I tend not to like look at what the price is anymore because I have that item. I wanted to own that item. I own that item now. Now I want to see what else I'm wanting. So I go through phases. Like one of my big things is that, and I obviously did not coin this phrase, but I am a jack of all trades, master of none. And my biggest thing I tell people is to focus, focus, focus. And I have horrible focus.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just and I'm self-admitted I'm horrible at it. But currently now, since you asked, and I'll share with you guys, I am in a phase now where I'm starting to, and this will sound funny for those of you that know me for a long time, probably since for the first time since 2008, short of some dabbling here and there, prospect cards, essentially, the unsigned versions.
Okay.
So, and again, it's, I really like Wander Franco now. Will he turn out to be anything? Who the heck knows? Nobody knows. Tomorrow never, as the Beatles said, tomorrow never knows. So, but it's fun. And it's, well, since I don't hunt tens, it's, I'm doing the air quotes thing again, it's cheaper.
So you were collecting, you had your break with collecting, you came back to collecting, you started to get your focus, your preference for graded, all of that type of thing came out and came up. At what point did the idea for a YouTube channel come out? At what point did you decide that sharing that collection that you're building was something that you wanted to start doing?
That's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. So it was probably honestly about 4 years. Geez, 2017 is 4 years ago now, isn't it? Wow. That's
Time
scary.
flies.
Yeah. So about this time of year, 4 years ago, I was, on one of the more popular message boards, probably the most popular message board. They don't need any advertising. So, but a friend of mine who was kind of like a casual friend of mine posted on there. It's like, hey, I made this YouTube video. I don't even remember what the topic was, but hey, I posted this YouTube video, and he put a link the on the message board. It's like for what, being bored or whatnot, I clicked on it. So I watched it. It was entertaining. It's like, oh wow. Now I had a YouTube channel, the same one back in 2006, 2007. And I had published, maybe half a dozen videos or so, maybe 10. But I fell out with it. It just, for some reason, I just stopped. You know how I just stopped. But then when I watched my friend Mike's video, yeah, shot in the dark. If you're meeting someone new in the hobby, you just call him Mike. You've got a good shot at that being their name. So
yeah, Mike and
yeah,
a baseball card collector.
yes,
those are the
yeah,
two things, right? Like,
yeah. You have a good shot if you have to guess someone's name. You say Mike. Yeah. So all right, it's like, all right. So I enjoyed his video. It's like, and then I remembered I used to make videos. I could do this. and it was my current incarnation of the channel was April, I don't remember, I'm sorry, August 2017, someday, the pilot episode, it's in there, August something 2017. So I was like, all right, let me just do a short, quick intro. And I thought this could be fun. Share my knowledge, like put it out there to, hey, get it out there. And, and the big thing is like going to the show, the national, and talking to fellow collectors. And this is my big thing. One of my big things. I would be fortunate enough to have people come up to me. It's like, hey, I watch your channel. I enjoy it. Thank you. It's very humbling, very, very humbling. Because I'm just some dude from New York. So, but I would ask them in turn, and this is one of my favorite stories to tell. I had a gentleman come up to me with his wife, and he was holding his youngest daughter, and I believe had his wife was pushing a stroller with a younger child. It might have been a son. And he said, hey, Eric, they come in. It's funny because they come up to me and they say, hey, Eric. And I don't know these. I say, hey, I don't recognize it. Yeah, you don't know me. I just watched the channel. And they yada, yada, yada. It's a usual conversation. And I said, hey, are you on YouTube? Are you making content? And he's, no, I'm not. And I said, why not? I'm timid. It's not for me. I don't talk well. I said, look, this is what you have to do. You have to make videos. Even if you make the videos and you keep them private, because once it's on YouTube forever. Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever, no matter, well, short of whatever. But for 98% of the time, it's always but the big picture is like, especially, maybe for your listeners and anyone else, if you have children, if you have loved ones, if you have husband, wife, significant other, friends, if you talk to anybody, make YouTube videos. It's free. It's easy. You need a smartphone and an internet connection. You don't need fancy. You don't need graphics. I mean, another thing is you're not going to get YouTube famous doing sports card videos. So people need to forget about that. You don't do videos to make money. You do videos to get your stuff out there, to share your knowledge. But most important, and the premise of the story is you're doing these videos to get yourself on the internet for when you're not here anymore.
In the background of several of your videos, you've got kind of a backdrop or a sign that says, you matter, share your knowledge. And it sounds like that sign is kind of what you're getting at with the story that you just told, right? And that impetus. So
yes,
is that probably the primary reason that you're doing it is because, like you said, you want to get that knowledge out there. You're one collector, you're one piece of knowledge, or you're one part of the overall story of cards, but your story is one that we want to tell, right? And my story is one that I want to tell, and all of us as collectors have a story to tell.
Exactly. Now, and again, it's kind of like a polar opposite 180 of when we were kids. Oh, I know this guy's going to be good. I'm just going to buy them all. I'm not going to tell anybody. That doesn't really help the community at all.
Right.
That might be good for you in the short run, but it's not helping your fellow collector. It's not helping in the big picture. And the back to the point with the man with his child in arm and his wife with the stroller, and this is important, is like I said to him flat out, what happens, something happens to you next week and you're not here anymore. You've got these videos where your children and their children can go to the internet and say, oh, this is what grandpa loved. This is what Poppy loved to do. And I think it's important, especially as guys, it's important to have this stuff out there that we absolutely love and have access anybody with the internet can go at any time. Now, see, I lost my mom when I was 10, and I can't remember what she sounds like. I can remember what she looks like, but mainly from photos. But today, with everything, you can go and, we've lost guys in the community that are no longer with us, and they have videos, and people can go, their families, whoever can go and watch those videos, and it's always going to be there. So I think that is super, super important. And I get how difficult it is. It's hard. I'm not saying it's super, it's easy for me to say it's easy to make videos, because like anything else, you do it enough times, it becomes second nature. But it is just so important to put yourself out there. That's just my personal opinion on that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think you touched on something else as well. And that's that aspect of community, right? We're building this to share our knowledge with the community of fellow collectors. And one of the best places that we've got to do that and to build community and enjoy some of these things in person, not just on the internet, is the National. And we didn't have a National in 2020 because of COVID. It looks like, by all indications, we are going to have a National again in 2021. And so I wanted to kind of wrap up our conversation today by just spending a little bit of time talking about the National, kind of what it means to you, what it means to me, and what you're excited about coming into the 2021 National. My first National was 2018 in Chicago. I was just there for one day.
That was Cleveland.
I'm sorry, then 2017.
Yes.
And then 2019 was back in Chicago. And that was the first time that I had a chance to go for multiple days.
Nice.
And you and I actually met, although we didn't didn't know who you were at that time. And it was a very brief in passing conversation at the Tops dinner that they had. But I know you're a veteran of the National. What does the National mean to you?
Whew. The National, it means everything to me. It's essentially, I can't, all right, without, try not to ramble on too long, but all right. So you take your local show, right? Your local card show, no matter, it's Dallas, forget Dallas, because that's pretty big now, but your local card show is like a spring training game, maybe, first week of the season. The National is the World Series. It is the Super Bowl, where it is everything. It is the place where you go, where everybody, 99.9% of the people in the room know why you're there. You can say that it's 88 tops, and they don't look at you like you have 5 heads. Everybody has the common denominator in the room. The mood is usually very good. It's very nice to put faces to names. And the beautiful thing about YouTube is it makes it just so easy. Like, I met friends. My first National was 2010 in Baltimore. It was a spur of the moment thing. I took a bus from New York City at midnight, and I got there Saturday, wee hours in the morning. I stayed with some friends in their hotel room. I crashed on the floor. I went to the show Saturday, and then I had to leave Saturday night. And then at that show, I was like, this is for me. I'm going every year. And obviously there was not one last year, but I've been fortunate enough to go every year since 2010. And like I said with YouTube, by 2019, I was more recognized on YouTube, and it just made things easier. I had met friends that I had met through YouTube that I had never met in person. But when I saw them at the show, my friend Andy, I went up to Andy, gave him a hug. Like, there was no awkward, because you see these people on YouTube all the time. So it's not like meeting, I guess technically still on YouTube, you're a stranger. but it's not like meeting somebody on Twitter that doesn't, has a bird or an egg as an avatar. So the awkwardness goes away when you watch somebody's content all the time and you interact with them in the comment section type of thing. So that the national is not, you cannot describe it to someone who's not been, because it's going to be overwhelming. And even to me, to this day, my first day there, I get there, I walk on the floor, it's like, oh,
Yeah, you just walk into that room and it's immense.
Yeah.
I think for me, what's one of those similar things, the big difference for me from 2017 to 2019 was in 2017, I was only about a year and a half back into collecting. I didn't have that online community. But in 2019, I had started to build friends with some other bloggers, some other folks that had websites and podcasts and video shows and things like that. And so I was able to, like you said, meet some of those people face to face for the first time that I had only interacted with online. And that just added such a different dimension to the event. It wasn't just about the cards at that point. It was about the cards and the hobby family that you had built and coming together as one, and combining both those two things into the same event is pretty awesome.
Yeah. A friend of mine years ago coined the phrase family reunion.
Yep.
Because we all get together once a year at this place and it's like a family reunion.
Well, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to do that again here in Chicago. With me being in Central Illinois, it's always nice that it's just a couple hours up the road. I don't have to worry about coordinating flights and some of those other things.
Nice.
It's a little bit easier for me, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting back up to Rosemont here in the end of July.
Oh, yes.
Well, Eric, anything else that you want to share with the audience here? We'll definitely have to have you back on again. We just kind of scratched the surface on your background and your presence on YouTube and that type of thing. I'm sure we'll be able to get you back on to have a more specific conversation on a specific topic at some point. But anything else that you want to share before we go today?
I just want to thank everyone for taking the time out to listen. I mean, it means a lot to me to be on the show, and it means a lot to me to have you guys, share your knowledge, to keep learning, and most importantly, remember that you matter.
And tell everybody else again where they can find your stuff.
I'm on YouTube, those back pages. I'm on Twitter, those back pages. I mean, pretty much everywhere. If you I guess even if you Google those back pages, I'll probably show up other places. So, but yeah, I mean, and again, if probably the easiest way to reach me is on Twitter, give me a follow or whatnot and say, hey, I have a question. Always happy to answer questions and the best I can, and just promoting, learning, and sharing, like I said, sharing knowledge.
Very cool. Well, thanks again, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
The Sports Card Shop at MoCo is your small-town local shop with a global reach. Conveniently located in New Buffalo, Michigan. We're an easy drive for most residents in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. Come see us every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sundays from 12 to 5. Want to shop from the comfort of your home? Give us a call at 269-469-0140 or visit our website at thesportscardshop@moco.com or our Facebook page. Major credit cards and PayPal accepted, and we ship anywhere in the world. We're an authorized dealer for both Panini and Topps, with new sealed wax from both arriving weekly. And yes, we have PSA and SGC graded cards and over 250,000 singles in stock. Be sure to follow us and turn on notifications for posts to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on new arrivals. The Gocher family has been serving this community for over a decade, so stop by or visit us at thesportscardshop@moco.com.
Thanks again to Eric for coming on today. I just really enjoy having these conversations with other collectors, letting their personalities come through, giving you a chance to maybe be introduced to somebody that you had not known before. I definitely encourage you to check out his YouTube channel at those back pages, follow him on Twitter, and just start to consume some of the content and information that he is sharing. He's got a lot of it. Let me know what you think about the show today by reaching out by email at waxpackhero@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheMikeSummer, and you can search for me as WaxPackHero on Instagram, on TikTok, and a variety of other social locations. Leave me a rating and review. I'd really appreciate it. And most of all, tell a friend about the show. Help spread the word and help more people find it. I would really appreciate that as well. That's all I've got for you today, so I'll catch you next time.